Objective Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is a question paper of Assistant Conservator Forest Geology 2014. And I hope this solid question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSIR, NET, GATE, GSI, Civil Services, ONGC and other exams. Welcome to set 2. The first question, a caldera that develops where collapse is followed by the doming of the central block is. So the choices given are A. Explosive calderas, B. Collapse caldera, C. Resurgent calderas, D. Erosion caldera. So the correct answer is C. Resurgent caldera. So resurgent caldera is these are the largest volcanic features on the earth, but they are not soaring mountains like composite volcanoes, nor they are hulking masses like shield volcanoes. They form by ground subsidence after especially large volcanic eruptions that partially empty the underlying magma reservoir, causing its roof to collapse. So the correct answer is resurgent caldera. It's a caldera that develops when the collapse is followed by the doming of the central block. Next question. Pick out the right statement. A. Symmetrical ripples help in determining current direction. B. Bed thickness is a criteria in determining overturned beds. C. Fossils may be of great help in indicating whether the beds are right side up or not. And D. Current ripples can be used to determine top from bottom. So the right statement is fossils, these are of enormous help in indicating whether the beds are right side up or not. So how the fossils are helpful means the location of the fossils in rock layers, it provides evidence of the Earth's past landscapes, and it is hard to guess the age of the rock. And scientists, they have to act like detectives, like piecing together a mystery to determine how long ago the rocks are formed. So fossils are helpful in a particular rock layer, and it helps scientists, geologists to determine the age of the rock. And they help, great help in indicating whether the beds are right side up or not. So C is the correct answer. Next question, guyets are. So what are guyets? So a very straight question. A. Volcanic chains. B. Volcanic hills. C. Volcanic islands. D. Flat topped seamounts. So guyets are flat topped seamounts. A guyet or seamount is an undersea mountain. Seamounts are formed by volcanic activity, and they can be taller than 10,000 feet, and they can be isolated or part of large mountain chains. So guyets are flat topped seamounts. D is the correct option. Next question. The subsidiary folds of main recumbent folds may be called as A. Digitations, B. Root zone, C. Archbed, D. Kink bands. The subsidiary folds of main recumbent folds are known as digitations. So digitations, these are like fingers, like the subsidiary fold which is attached to the recumbent fold are called digitations. So A is the correct option. Next question. Identify the fault in which the hanging wall has moved up relative to the foot wall. It's also a simple question. A. Wrench fault. B. Strike slip fault. C. Detachment fault. And D. Thrust fault. So thrust fault is the correct option. Reverse fault or thrust fault is a dip slip fault in which the upper block above the fault plane moves up over the lower block. This type of the faulting is common in areas of compression, such as the regions where one plate is being subducted under another plate. So it is a thrust fault. D is the correct option. Next question. Name the fold in which two limbs dip away from each other. So choices are A. Fan fold, B. Anticlinal fan fold, C. Synclinal fan fold, D. Box fold. So the correct option is C. Synclinal fan fold. A fan fold is both limbs are overturned. In the anticlinal fan fold, the two limbs dip toward each other, whereas in the synclinal fan fold, the two limbs dip away from each other. And a fold is parallel if the thickness of the folded layers, which are measured normal to the bed, is constant all around the fold. So the fold in which the two limbs dip away from each other is known as synclinal fan fold. C is the correct option. Next question. Very complex patterns of soft sediment folds may be termed as A. Tepi structure, B. Convolute bedding, C. Flame structure, D. Dish structure. Very complex patterns of soft sediment folds are known as a convolute bedding. What is convolute bedding is actually these are the soft sediment deformation structures. Convolute bedding, it forms when complex folding and crumpling of the beds, or we can say that laminations occur. And this type of deformation is found in very fine or silty sands and is usually confined to one rock layer. And convolute laminations are found in floodplains, deltas, point bars, and intertidal flat deposits. So very complex pattern of soft sediment folds may be termed as convolute bedding. Next question. Anderson theory explains. So what does the Anderson theory is? So options are A. Formation of composite cells, B. Formation of batholith structure, C. Formation of fractures occupied by ring dikes, and D. Formation of the fractures occupied by the ring dikes and cone sheets. So Anderson theory explains the formation of the fractures occupied by the ring dikes and cone sheets. So the Andersonian theory, it predicts that the emplacement of the dikes is controlled at a first order by far field crustal stresses. So this was identified by Anderson in 1936 and Nakamura in 1977. So implying that the tectonic stresses, they dominate over stresses induced by magmatism. So Anderson theory, it explains the formation of the fractures which are occupied by the ring dikes and the cone sheets. D is the correct option. Next question. Primary foliation forms are those that form A. After the crystallization of magma, B. During the flowage of a partially crystallized magma, C. Long after the crystallization of magma, and D. During the flowage of an entirely crystallized magma. So primary foliation forms are those that form during the flowage of a partially crystallized magma. So primary foliation, it is formed during the deposition or igneous crystallization of the rocks to distinguish them from the secondary. These are also known as a tectonic foliation that develops when rocks are deformed. So tectonic foliations are widespread in metamorphic rocks. So primary foliation forms are those that form during the flowage of a partially crystallized magma. B is the correct option. Next question. Name the bedding that develops wherever sand has dropped over the edge of a growing sandbar, over the front of a sand dune, and over the edge of a growing small delta. So the options are A. Graded bedding, B. Hummocky cross bedding, C. Cross bedding, and D. Torrential bedding. So the correct option is C. Cross bedding. So it is nothing but the bedding that develops wherever sand has dropped over the edge of a growing sandbar, over the front of a sand dune, and over the edge of a growing small delta. So cross bedding is also known as a cross stratification. It is layering within a stratum and at an angle to the main bedding plane. So C. Cross bedding is the correct option. Next question. In one of the folds listed below, the deformation has been intense so that the beds become thicken and thin. So A. Open fold, B. Drag fold, C. Parallel fold, D. Tight fold. So the correct option is D. Tight fold. So gentle folds have an interlimb angle between 180 degrees and 120 degrees, and open folds, they range from 120 degrees to 70 degrees, and closed folds, the interlimb angle is from 70 to 30 degrees, and tight folds, they form from 30 to 0 degrees. So isoclines or isoclinal folds, they have an interlimb angle of between 10 degrees and 0 with essentially parallel limbs. So in the case of the tight folds, the deformation is very intense that the beds become thicken and also thin. So D. Tight fold is the correct option. Next question. Mention the other name of strike slip faults. So strike slip faults are also known as A. Detachment faults, B. Reverse faults, C. Wrench faults, and D. Gravity faults. So the correct option is C. Wrench faults. In a strike slip fault, the movement of the blocks along a fault is horizontal, and the fault motion of a strike slip fault, it is caused by shearing forces. And the other names of the strike slip fault are transcurrent fault, or lateral fault, tear fault, or wrench fault. The examples are San Andreas fault, California, and Anatolian fault, it is in Turkey. So the other name of the strike slip faults are wrench faults. C is the correct option. Next question. The topmost of the Krishna group is, so the choices are A. Pulivendula quartzites, B. Srisailam quartzites, C. Byronkonda quartzites, and D. Gulchuru quartzites. The topmost of the Krishna group is Srisailam quartzites. So Krishna group consists of Irlakonda, Kolamdala formation, Srisailam quartzites, and the topmost of the Krishna group is Srisailam quartzites. So B is the correct option. Next question. Which group is particularly well developed in the eastern part of the Kadapa basin? A. Papagni group, B. Krishna group, and C. Nallamalai group, and D. Cheyyar group. So Nallamalai group, it is very well developed in the eastern part of the Kadapa Basin. Nallamalai group, that is Nallamalai Fold Belt, it is also known as NFB, Nallamalai Fold Belt. In the eastern part of the Kadapa Basin, it has folded and faulted metasedimentary rocks constituting the Nallamalai group. So, C, Nallamalai group is the correct option. Next question. The name Gondwana was introduced in 1872 by A. H.B. Medlicott and B. James Hutton, C. William Smith and D. R. Brucewood. The name Gondwana, it was introduced in 1872 by H.B. Medlicott, and the name Gondwana, it was proposed by Medlicott from the ancient kingdom of the Gonds. These are one of the principal aboriginal tribes, and they are believed to have inhabited a large part of the central India, in which the most complete sequence of these strata is found. So, A. H.B. Medlicott is the correct option. Next question. Which one of the following terms is derived from the Latin word for chalk was originally applied to the rocks which are extensively developed in the Paris Basin? So the choices are A. Triassic, B. Cretaceous, C. Jurassic and D. Carboniferous. So the correct answer is B. Cretaceous. In 1882, a Belgian geologist is known as Omalius de Halloy. He proposed the term Cretaceous, these for strata which encircles the Paris Basin in France. And the term derives from the Latin word for chalk, means crata, and it describes thick deposits of calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3, ooze and chert, that is silica form, SiO2. So the Cretaceous, it is derived from the Latin word for chalk and was applied to the rocks which are extensively developed in Paris Basin. So B. Cretaceous is the correct answer. Next question. The Dharwars were first studied in 1880 by A. Thomas Holland, B. Smith, C. R. Brucewood and D. Ramarao. The Dharwars were first studied in 1880 by R. Brucewood. The Dharwar craton is an Archean continental crust craton which is formed between 3.6 to 2.5 billion years ago, which is located in southern India, and this is considered as the oldest part of the Indian peninsula. And Brucewood, he gave the name Dharwar system to the lower transition rocks, and these rocks occurring near the Dharwar in Mysore state, when he has first separated these schistose rocks from the great granitoid gneiss system. So the Dharwars were first studied in 1880 by R. Brucewood. Next question. Fairly full succession of the Dharwars is found in A. Shimoga Belt, B. Kolar Belt, C. Chitradurga Belt, D. Nagamangala Belt. Fairly full succession of the Dharwars is found in the Shimoga Belt, and the late Archean Shimoga Belt or Shimoga Cyst Belt in the western Dharwar craton, with its huge dimensions and varied lithological associations of different age groups. This is an ideal terrain to study Archean crustal evolution. And the rock types in this belt are divided into Baba Budan group and Chitradurga group. So the fairly full succession of Dharwars is found in Shimoga Cyst Belt. A is the correct option. Next question. The Dharwars exhibit dash type of plunging folds. A. Southerly, B. Westerly, C. Northerly and D. Easterly. So Dharwars exhibit northerly plunging fold. So C is the correct option. Next question. Pick out the correct sequence. A. Bandar, Rewa, Kaimur, Semri. B. Bandar, Rewa, Semri, Kaimur. C. Rewa, Bandar, Kaimur, Semri. And D. Rewa, Bandar, Kaimur and Semri. So the correct option is A. This is very simple. Bandar, Rewa, Kaimur and Semri. So the Vindhyan supergroup is divided into 4 groups as the Semri group. This is also known as the lower Vindhyan. And the Kaimur, Rewa and Bandar groups, these are all collectively known as the upper Vindhyans. Kaimur, Rewa and Bandar are known as the upper Vindhyans. So the correct sequence is A. That is Bandar, Rewa, Kaimur. All these belongs to upper Vindhyans, whereas the Semri, it belongs to lower Vindhyans. So A is the correct option. I hope you have learned something from these questions, and hope these are useful for various exams, and hope you can subscribe and see you in the next video. Thank you for your time.